should have been studying my script. What am I going to say when I don't know my lines?
Well, I was studying. See, I'm in this play about Charles Dickens. I play his daughter, Mamie. And I have to know something about London, right? A whole terrific new city to skateboard around. And I've got to sit in this dumb hotel room and study my Charles Dickens script. David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. The one book I have to read for school, and it's by Charles Dickens. I'm being Dickens to death.
This special program sponsored by...
I don't know very much about Charles Dickens, except we have to read him at school. It all seems so stuffy to me. So many words. Now this is the living room. My living room since I'm playing Dickens' daughter, Mamie. That must be the lady playing my Aunt Georgina. They play my brothers, and that's Mr. Dickens himself.
Porter, you come in here. Stand back, yes. Good.
My mother's not in this scene, and they're separated. The director told me that Mamie was really older than I am, but that I shouldn't worry about it.
Really?
And I shouldn't worry about my English accent.
Yes, you're not going to
I'm
stay
not
there.
worried.
Right?
I'm petrified.
All right, now, it's Christmas Eve, 1869, at Gad's Hill. You're home just outside London, and your famous father, Charles Dickens, is doing something you all love dearly. He's giving his annual reading of A Christmas Carol. Okay, turn over.
21, take one.
Now, quiet, please, and action.
Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand of the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, pinched his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red and his thin lips blue. Until one Christmas Eve, all right, who were you then?
In life, I was your partner. Jacob Marley.
Oh. What do you want with me? In that case, can you sit down?
I can.
Well, do it then.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
It's all humbug, I tell you.
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why do you walk the earth? And why do you come to me?
You do not know the weight and length of strong chain you bear yourself. Hear me. My time is nearly gone. I come tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
Thank you, Jacob. You were always a good friend of mine.
You will be visited by free spirits.
What? Was that the chance of hope that you mentioned, Jacob?
It was.
Oh, well, in that case, never mind. I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first when the bell tolls one. Look to see me no more.
He had no further intercourse with spirits. But ever afterwards, it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone!
Mince pies for everyone. Here we are, take your wish. Don't forget to make a wish. Shut your eyes and make a wish.
Oh, Father, I can't imagine a Christmas without your reading that.
Well, don't imagine it.
But what shall I do when I have a family of my own? You may be too old to recite it then.
Too old? Humbug. I shall recite the Christmas carol on my 100th year. Even if my lips won't move, I dare say it'll come out on its own, out of sheer habit.
Oh, could we have one go playing the memory game?
Oh, yay!
No, you've got a big day tomorrow. It's Christmas. No, eat those pies up and off to bed.
Oh, please, Father, just for a little while.
Oh, all right. Just one small go-round. Now, who's going to start?
Me.
Right. Prince Edward will start. Now, remember, no cheating. You must say the very first thing that comes into your mind once a word is thrown at you.
But Sydney always takes time to sing.
I do not!
Now, Sydney, now you're not supposed to think.
That shouldn't be too hard for Sydney.
No, that's enough now, both. Right? Begin. Edward, start.
Pudding.
Plum. Sugar.
Salt. Table.
Chair.
Fire. Warmth. Bottle.
Bottom blacking, 30 strand.
What? Well, that's an odd thing to say. Bottoms blacking, 30 strand. What does that mean?
I don't know. Well, I was just playing this game. You said bottle, that's what I said.
Yes, but what does it mean?
Well, what difference does it make what it means? The whole point of the game is you say the first thing that comes into your mind. It doesn't have to mean something.
Play. I want to play.
Too late now. The game's over.
No, I want to play.
We'll play tomorrow. Off you go to bed.
Come
Off you
along,
go.
bedtime. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Oh, I'm sorry, Father. I didn't mean to spoil anything. I'm just curious, that's all.
That's all right, Mamie. Good night.
Good night. Father, do you think you could tell me what it means?
It's nothing, I told you. Now go to bed.
Oh, I don't care what he says. I think it is something, and I'm going to find out.
I can't work through all this. Enough!
You seem so tired. Maybe you should leave your work for a few days.
How can I when I've got this deadline to meet? My readers are waiting for the next episode of Drood. Oh, why did I get into this magazine business? I'm writing an installment a month as I used to years ago when I first started.
Deadline or no, you need to put this aside. I shall look after the boys. You should go to London.
Yes. Yes, I can do some business there.
May I go with you?
What a delightful idea. Oh, no, I really have got some business. I must look through the illustrations for the new book before we go. Aha! One of the earliest sketches of Mr. Pickwick before his hilarious ride ending in a carriage breakdown. He's really captured the old boy. That's just as I imagined him. Under the influence of Mr. Wardle's excitement, Mr. Pickwick found himself in complicated entanglements with harness and mixed up with horses and wheels of chaises in the most surprising manner.
Who's going to ride the horse?
Why, you, Mr. Winkle. You're the all-round sportsman of this expedition. You can ride a horse, I hope.
Oh, naturally. Born in the saddle. But surely I'm depriving one of you other gentlemen of pleasure. No, no, no. Perish the thought.
You're privileged, sir. She's done that. What can she mean by it?
I think she was trying to shine.
Then we must make her realize who is master. Mr. Winkle, have the kindness to retrieve my whip. I daren't let go these reins.
Well, I daren't get off this horse.
Come, come, sir. If you got onto him once, you can get onto him again.
All right.
There, what did I tell you? Acquire firm hand, and they know who's master.
Well, now, what am I to do? You will never get on again.
Show the beast that you will tolerate no nonsense, as I am doing.
Hold still. Tally-ho. Yoinks.
Be quiet and firm.
Well, he's the one that's being quiet and firm.
You had better lead him till we come to a turnpike.
Well, he won't come.
Then I must come to your assistance.
He doesn't even understand English.
Oh, illustrations are very important. I dare say as many of my books sold as much because of them as because of my writing. Well, I don't think I'd quite go that far. Can you keep yourself busy in London while I'm working?
Oh, of course. I can visit Mother.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Father, what does that number mean?
What number?
30. 30 Strand.
Oh, that again. Mamie, if you don't start packing, we shall never get to London.
Valerie, could I just have a quick word with you about this next setup? What we're going to do now is the scene where we're going to see you. Camera's going to be in the
Must have been wonderful having Charles Dickens read all of his books to you. I wonder if he really knew people like silly Mr. Pickwick and that crotchety old Scrooge. I just realized something. The way his books were first published in magazines, an episode a month, they were almost like our soap operas. I think I'm really getting into this part. Until now, I'd always thought of Charles Dickens as a great author. But he's a man, a funny, moody man. I can't wait till we go to London and really start finding things out. I can't wait.
What we're going to...
London. Fog everywhere. Fog up the river where it flows among green apes and meadows. Fog down the river where it rolls defiled among tiers of shipping and the waterside pollutions of a great and dirty city. Fog. Which book did that come from?
Bleak House.
Right. That was a lucky guess.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
London needs the fog. Hides her well.
I thought you loved the city.
I love writing about it. I hated growing up here. We were poor. It was a struggle, and...
Well, and what? Tell me about it.
Look. See those bookstores? What do they remind you of?
All the books I haven't read.
No. Oliver Twist. That's where the Artful Dodger took him on his first tryout as a pickpocket.
You'll do.
King's Bench Prison. The debtor's prison. Remember in David Copperfield when Mr. Micawber couldn't pay his debts and they sent him there?
Didn't your father go to debtor's prison?
Yes. My father. And then my whole family moved in. And I was sent out to work. I was a small boy. And I went out to work. And I used to visit my family, living rather comfortably in jail. Oh, my father ranting on about the rosy future. His dreams.
Father, where did you work when your family was in jail?
Well, what difference does it make? Aha! The great courts of law. You know, I suppose what they're filled with. Something quite horrible.
What?
Lawyers. Oh, yes. As a boy, I was a court reporter. I knew them well. You know the infamous Uriah Heep?
Oh, that awful character in David Copperfield.
Yes. The courts are filled with them. Hundreds and hundreds of Heaps. But me, a great lawyer. Oh, now I'm much too old. Much too old.
Oh, I'm much too, Heap. What a wonderful name for him. Heap.
Advice, my dear. Never trust a man who boasts that he's humble.
Oh, I wouldn't trust anyone named Uriah Heap.
No, driver, not there. Take the next street.
But this is the shoulder.
I said take the next street.
Why didn't we take that street if it's shorter?
It's not shorter. He doesn't know. I'll drop you off at your mother's.
It said Strand, and he would not go down it. Then the other night, when we were playing the memory game, I said bottle, and Father said Warren's Blacking, 30 Strand. Do you know what it means? Mother?
No, I don't.
Father just seems strange lately. I don't think he's well, but he won't talk about it.
Oh, he won't tell you anything. He saves it all for his books. Living with your father was very difficult. Exhausting sometimes, but never dull.
But it must have been grand traveling all over the world with him.
Oh, it was. It was. Boston, Paris, Rome. It was. The ladies always liked your father, and he loved that.
Oh, Mother, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Ask him. Well, you don't have to ask him. Just read his books. He was always in love with someone he couldn't have.
But Father loved you.
Oh, yes, he loved me, but there was always someone else. There were the admirers who flocked around him, and his dream women, like Estella.
Who?
Estella, from Great Expectations.
Your own, one day, my dear. And you will use it well. Let me see you play cards with this boy.
With this boy? But he is a common laboring boy. And look at his boots.
Well, you can break his heart.
What do you play, boy? Only begging my neighbor, miss.
Beggar him.
4 for the ace. 1 for a jack. He calls the knaves jacks, this boy. What coarse hands he has. You stupid, clumsy, laboring boy.
She says many hard things of you, but you say nothing of her. What do you think of her?
I don't like to say.
Tell me in my ear.
I think she's very proud.
Anything else?
I think she's very pretty.
Anything else?
I think she's very insulting.
Anything else?
I think I should like to go home now.
And never see her again, though she is so pretty.
I'm not sure that I wouldn't like to see her again. But I think I'd like to go home now.
You shall go home soon. Play the game out.
Wait here, boy. Why don't you cry?
So I don't want to.
You do. You've been crying, and you're near crying now.
The following week.
Well?
Well, miss?
Am I pretty?
Yes, I think you're very pretty.
Am I insulting?
No, not so much so as you were last time.
Not so much so.
No.
There, take that, you coarse little monster. What do you think of me now?
I shan't tell you.
Because you're going to tell upstairs, is that it?
No, it's not it.
Why don't you cry again, you little wretch?
I'll never cry for you again.
Did he ever write about you?
Well, yes. Biddy. In the same book. Yes, I suppose I was Biddy.
Very soon she became a trusted friend to both of us and a blessing to the household.
Biddy, I want you to help me. Don't I help you, Pip? Oh, yes. You help me a lot with my letters and figures. But this is a secret. Oh? What is it? Biddy. Yes? Biddy, I want to be a gentleman. A gentleman? Oh, I wouldn't if I was you, Pip. I don't think it would answer. Biddy, I have a particular reason for wanting to be a gentleman.
Well, you know best, Pip, but don't you think you're happy as you are?
I'm not happy as I am. I'm coarse and common.
Coarse and common, are you, Pip? Who said so?
A beautiful young lady at Miss Havisham's. And I want to be a gentleman on her account.
Yes, I suppose I was Biddy. And Estella was all the women he wanted and couldn't have.
Mother, are you sure you don't know what Warren's blacking 30 strand means?
No. It's probably just another of his little secrets. Look in his books. He'll probably tell us somewhere there.
Well, kid, you're not doing bad for a 100-year-old teenager. Be easier if I could wear my jeans and sweatshirt. The funny thing is, the more I feel like Charles Dickens' daughter, the more I want to know about his books. And about him. And why he's keeping this Warren's blacking thing a secret.
She's all in all to me. It is too late to part us now. We've been off.
What's going on?
Your father's rehearsing.
Rehearsing? For what?
He's going on tour again.
But why? He's not well. He shouldn't.
Try telling that to Charles Dickens.
She was dead. Dear, gentle, patient, noble Nell was dead. A little bird, a poor slight thing the pressure of a finger would have crushed, was stirring nimbly in its cage.
I don't understand. You're not doing another tour. You haven't been well. You haven't been able to keep up with your writing. You haven't...
Priorities! There are priorities. I have an audience out there that wants to hear me read my work.
But it's not healthy for you.
But it is healthy. Hearing the audience's response to my characters, to the roles they played, to their lives, that's exhilarating. You will come with me to the readings, won't you? You've never been, and I'd love you to come. And you can help me to select the passages. I want a whole new selection. Now, say it, you'll help me.
Only if you'll do something for me.
Well, of course. What?
I want to know about Warren's blacking 30 strand.
Mamie, dear. I told you I don't remember.
You could if you tried.
Yes. Well, there's too much on my mind just now. After the tour, when I've got time to think, then I'll remember, and then I'll tell you.
Oh, promise.
Promise. Now, the passages. I think it's time I told the people just how much of this country is falling apart around them. Now, one thing that must be taken up is the state of education, which is shameful. Now, Thomas Gradgrind, in front of his class, turns and points at one of his students. Girl number 20, stand up.
I don't know the girl.
Sissy Jude, sir.
Sissy is not a name. Don't call yourself Sissy. Call yourself Cecilia.
It's father that calls me Sissy, sir.
Then he has no business to do. Tell him he mustn't. Cecilia Jupe. Now then, what is your father?
Groom's horses, if you please, sir.
Well then, give me your definition of a horse.
Well, a horse is... he rides it and gives it sugar.
Sit down. Girl number 20, unable to define a horse. Girl number 20 possesses no facts referring to the commonest of animals. Some boy's definition of a horse. But, sir, yours.
Quadruped, graminivorous, 40 teeth, namely 24 grinder, 4 eye teeth and 12 incisor. Sheds coat in spring. In marshy countries, sheds hoofs too. Hoofs hard, but requiring to be shod with iron. Age known by marks in mouth.
Very good, Bixer. Now, girl number 20, you know what a horse is.
Yes, sir.
Now, girl number 20, would you use a carpet with representation of flowers on it?
Yes, sir.
What?
If you please, sir, I'm very fond of flowers.
And is that why you will put tables and chairs on them and have people walking over them with heavy boots?
It wouldn't hurt them, sir. They wouldn't crush and wither. If you please, sir, they would be the pictures of what was pretty and I would fancy.
Aye. But you mustn't fancy. That's it. You must never fancy. You are to be in all things regulated and governed by fact.
Fact! 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 Fact!
Now, where would I be today, ladies and gentlemen, if I had given up fancy for facts? If I had listened to my teachers and stopped using my imagination? We must take care of our children. They're our future. And I say, if this is what has become of the education of the common people, then let there be none. The runaway, Smike, has been caught and returned to the Do the Boys Hall School by the diabolical headmaster, Mr. Squeers, and his wife. Have you got anything to say? Demanded Squeers of the boy, flexing his right arm with a switch or two to test its power. Stand a little out of the way, my dear Mrs. Squeers. I've hardly got the room. Oh, please, sir. Spare me, sir, said Mike. Oh, that's all, is it? Said Squeers. Yes. I'll flog you within an inch of your life and spare you that! Laughed Mrs. Squeers. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, please, sir, I was driven to it, sir, said Smike faintly. Oh, you were driven to it, were you, eh? Oh, then it wasn't your fault. It was mine, I suppose, eh? Squeers caught the boy firmly in his grip. One desolate cut had landed on his body. He was wincing from the lash and screaming with the pain. It was raised again and again about to fall when Nicholas Nickleby suddenly outcried, "Stop!" in a voice that made the rafters ring. "Who said stop?" cried Squeers, whipping savagely round. "I did," said Nicholas, stepping forward. "This must not go on." "Must not go on?" cried Squeers almost in a shriek. "No, I say. Must not. Will not. I will prevent it." Squeers continued to gaze at him, his eyes starting out of his head. But astonishment, actually, for the moment, had bereft him of speech.
father, I mean Mr. Dickens, really wasn't well. He's home now, resting. Maybe we'll finally get a chance to talk. I'm beginning to think more like Mamie than myself.
I can't get started this morning. Oh, starting every morning is always the hardest.
Father, could I?
And if you think this is difficult, you can imagine just how hard it is to begin the book itself. You should read some of my earlier works. They were just meanderings, words, anything just to get me going. Do you know what it takes to find the perfect beginning? I remember A Tale of Two Cities. I was trying to get the feeling of the times of the French Revolution. I tried describing Paris with the joy of liberty, and at the same time, the despair from all the suffering and bloodshed. And it just didn't come alive. And then I hit upon it. Do you know what it was?
No.
Directness. Why not just say it? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope and the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. That has you interested. That is a beginning.
Father, could we talk?
Not just now, my dear.
Please, it's important.
Not when I'm starting. Perhaps later on this afternoon when I've done some work. A beautiful morning shines upon the old city. Its antiquities and ruins are surpassingly beautiful, with a lusty ivy gleaming.
Aunt Georgina, something's on my mind.
I don't doubt that.
Father and I are so close, and yet there are times I know he's hiding something very important from me. Why is he so mysterious?
He's like that with all of us.
Well, do you remember last Christmas Eve when we played the memory game? I said bottle, and Father said Warren's Blacking 30 Strand. Now, I've tried to find out what it means, but no one seems to know. Do you know?
I'm sorry, my dear, I don't. Have you asked your father?
Yes, several times. But he keeps avoiding me. Ooh, sometimes I think Father is closer to the characters he creates than he is to us. I think he would tell them.
A child of excellent abilities and with strong powers of observation, I became at 10 years old a laborer in a warehouse at Waterside. Men and boys were employed, labels to be pasted on bottles. All this was my work. No words can express the agony of my soul as hopes of growing up to be a learned and distinguished man crushed in my bosom.
Yes. Yes. This must be it. I'll ask him. Father, I think Father? Father? Aunt Georgina?
Georgina? Aunt Georgina! Come quickly!
Baby, where are you going?
Back to London.
See those bookstores? What do they remind you of?
All the books I haven't read.
No. Oliver Twist.
Didn't your father go to debtor's prison?
Yes. My father. And then my whole family moved in. And I was sent out to work.
Father, where did you work when your family was in jail?
Well, what difference does it make?
Stop! Stop! Yes, stop! A child of excellent abilities and with strong powers of observation, I became at 10 years old a laborer in a warehouse at Waterside. Men and boys were employed, labels to be pasted on bottles. All this was my work. No words can express the agony of my soul as hopes of growing up to be a learned and distinguished man crushed in my bosom. Oh, Father, you could write about it for others, disguise it, but you wouldn't tell me. Warren's blacking 30 Strand. It was something. I knew it. This factory was where you worked when you were a little boy, and your family was in debtor's prison. You were David Copperfield. You were Oliver Twist. All those lonely boys. But you couldn't tell me about it because it was too painful. But you could write it in your books. Oh, how you could write it.
But ever afterwards, it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God
bless us!
Everyone! And cut! Okay, right, print that. That's a wrap.
I've never worked with such wonderful people. I really had a good time. I hate to go home. Well, if I gotta go, one super skateboard tour around London before I do.